Our data and digital devices are more vulnerable than ever to cyber threats due to the sheer amount of sensitive information we have stored digitally and on the cloud. Today we'll be talking about the need for effective cybersecurity and the prevalence of brute force attacks. The most important thing to know about cybercrime is that it isn't rare. One cyber attack takes place every 11 seconds, with damages totaling more than $6 trillion. Cybersecurity also affects a sizable portion of the world's population, with places like America seeing over 33% of its citizens affected by identity theft. The world is in need of effective solutions quickly because the frequency of cybercrimes has more than doubled in the last several years. A recent report by the FBI showed close to 1 million reports of cybercrime in the year 2021 alone, with a greater than 50% increase from the year before. Moving forward, the total cost of cybercrimes will surpass $10 trillion as early as 2025. Small businesses and organizations are at further risk of cyber attacks. Unfortunately, over 70% of businesses that fall victim to a data breach have to close their doors within 6 months. One of the most common types of cybercrimes, which we'll be discussing today, are brute force attacks. By the end of this video, we will be providing you with tips and actionable solutions to protect your organization from this attack. Did you know? Last year alone, Microsoft blocked over 25.6 billion Azure AD brute force attacks. So with that, you might be wondering, what exactly is a brute force attack? Brute force attacks are attacks where an attacker uses trial and error to guess login information, encryption keys, or find a hidden web page. Hackers go through all possible combinations in the hopes of guessing some correctly and gaining access to privileged information. Even though brute force attacks are a relatively old attack method, as seen by the example of Microsoft, they are still very prevalent today. There are several established ways to prevent a brute force attack. Individuals can enable multi-factor authentication, implement account lookout policy, and set up strong passwords to prevent potential breaches. Do you think these steps are enough for your company to prevent a brute force attack? It's important for every organization to have a strong cyber strategy, including the implementation of a security operations center. A popular tool to help enhance the capabilities of the modern SOC is the Cetas Autonomous Incident Responder. Now we'll see a brief demonstration of how the Cetas Autonomous Incident Responder detects and notifies SOC analysts of a brute force attack. Cetas has several threat detection models fine-tuned to detect brute force attacks across multiple data sources. Here we see that one of the brute force attack models has triggered an alert for a user in Okta activity. The example user has the name Victim1, and we can view the timeline of this user's activity and investigate the potential brute force attack in more detail. Here in Victim1's timeline, we see that the potential brute force attack model triggered an alert at 11 a.m. on September 27. With just a few clicks, we can investigate the behavior of this user and model and see all of the instances of logon failures and their associated source country. In this case, Victim1 has 500 events associated with a login failure across 51 different countries and 59 distinct source IP addresses. Since there are so many suspicious login failures in such a short amount of time, we can conclude that this is a brute force attack, and the Cetas Autonomous Incident Responder makes investigating and remediating this threat an easy and intuitive process.